Something happened on social media the other day. An ex-husband publicly claimed that his ex-wife, who is now married to another man, still belongs to him. He said she was on loan to her current husband because they have 3 kids together. I guess he thinks the children somehow gave him ownership rights. And while some condemned his statement, I was actually shocked to see some people supporting him. Some even went as far as saying, this is why you should not marry a single mother, putting the blame on the current husband and the woman. But let's pause and ask, why is it always our fault? Why is single motherhood so disrespected? Why is it the fault of the woman, the one who stayed, raised the kids, carried the emotional and even sometimes the financial burden alone, still labeled shameful, used, or irresponsible, while the man who helped make those children, who may have abandoned them or failed to commit, still welcomed and even praised? This is the society we live in, one that baptizes male entitlement and calls it tradition. One that turns Okafor's law, that twisted idea that once a man has slept with a woman, he would always have access to her, into justification for shaming single mothers and dismissing their right to move on, to be loved again, and to be respected. Today on Authors and Agendas, we are pulling back the curtain on how Nigerian culture and sometimes the church weaponizes shame against single mothers, while conveniently absolving the men who made them mothers in the first place. Let's talk about it. In Nigeria, motherhood is considered sacred, but only when it is wrapped in marriage. Once a woman becomes a single mother, whether through divorce, widowhood, or unplanned pregnancy, she is seen as less desirable, less holy, and less worthy. The assumption is she's irresponsible, loosed, or cursed. Rarely does anyone ask, where is the man? Why is he not here? What was his role? We have created a culture that glorifies fatherhood in theory, but rarely demands it in practice. Meanwhile, we place all the burden of morality, shame, and consequence on the woman. We even say things like, children will always look for their father when they grow up, a further justification for irresponsibility on the man's part. This isn't just society. It is reflected in how many churches treat single mothers. They are welcomed, but quietly, silently from a distance. They are rarely given leadership roles, even when they are highly qualified. And yet they show up every single Sunday with their children and their faith and the audacity to believe that God sees them. To me, that alone is holy. Let's talk about Okafor's law for a minute. It's a cultural theory turned toxic dogma that says once a man has slept with a woman, he can sleep with her again whenever he wants. Some people will say, once debe, always debe. Pretty much the same theory. Beyond sounding like a bad Nollywood script, this idea fuels a dangerous belief that women are properties, once owned, always accessible. When people say, don't marry a single mother, what they're often really saying is, she doesn't belong to you, she still belongs to someone else. It doesn't matter if she's moved on, if she's ailing, or if she's building a life of her own. The belief is that a man's past access to her gives him permanent rights. Just think about that for a moment. This mindset is violent, not always physically, but emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. It strips single mothers of their agency and dignity. It strips all women of their agency and dignity. It's time we name it and call it what it is. Abuse, masked as culture. So where is the church in all this? Too often, silence. Yes, some churches are beginning to change, offering support for single mothers and providing a community free of judgment. But too many still see them as second class. But Jesus did not turn away the Samaritan woman who had 5 husbands and was even living with a 6th. He did not rebuke the woman caught in adultery. He protected her. We worship a God who knows that family doesn't always come in neat nuclear packages. It can be messy sometimes, but it is still family. Single mothers aren't moral failures. They are survivors. Survivors of abandonment, abuse, death, or even mistakes they have owned up to and grown from. And we sometimes conveniently forget it takes two. I think the church can do better as a place where the broken finds healing, not further brokenness. Why do we normalize men walking away from responsibilities and demonize women who stay to face the music? Why do we uplift male freedom and crucify female consequence? The double standard is appalling. It's time we dismantle this cultural myth. It's time we affirm that a woman's worth is not tied to her marital status or her parental situation. It's time to tell single mothers, you are not leftovers. You are not anyone's ex-property. You are not shameful. You are courageous, you are chosen, and you are covered by grace. As we close today, I want to speak to any single mother listening right now. You don't need to apologize for surviving. You don't need to explain why you stayed or why you left or how you ended up here. You're not a second-class citizen. You are seen, you're valued, and you are not alone. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, then please share. And show grace, not just on Sundays, but every day in between.